Have you noticed that your curls have gotten so much frizzier this winter? Or maybe you live somewhere where it's dry and hot all the time? Well, I'm gonna walk you through a step-by-step wash day routine for more moisturized curls without the frizz. If you are new to my channel, welcome. My name is Gina, and here I make videos all about naturally curly hair. I love doing these simplified step-by-step tutorials, helping you problem solve with your curls so that everyone can have healthier hair. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, be sure to do so before you go. I also wanted to thank Curlsmith for partnering with me for this video. They're one of my favorite curly hair brands that I always tend to go back to when I'm not testing out new things. And they just released their new Essential Moisture Shampoo and Conditioner as part of their moisture recipe. So we'll get into that in the routine. So let's first talk about the difference between just general frizz and dry frizz, because there is a difference and it's hard to tell sometimes which problem that your hair has. Frizz is inevitable and definitely normal for naturally curly hair. It's pretty much impossible to completely eliminate frizz, and that's not the goal. However, if your hair is frizzy because it's dry, that is something that should be fixed because our curls want to be moisturized. So a good way to tell if your frizz is from dry hair is just examine your hair and look at how it feels. Does it feel very dry and brittle? Does it feel not very soft at all? Does it look very dull? Is it lacking shine, or does it just break off very easily? These are all signs of dryness. However, this can often be confused with frizz that is just due to lack of hold. If you're not using styling products that contain hold, such as gel or mousse, then your curls can look very frizzy by day 2. And some people think that this is dryness, so they overcompensate with over moisturizing their curls. And this is not what you want to do. So I'm going to show you some ways in this routine to make sure that you have a balance between protein and moisture and that you're not over moisturizing your curls. So let's go ahead and get started with the routine. So the first step is an optional step, and that is to use a pre-poo oil and dry detangle your hair. Now, you don't have to dry detangle if you're someone that only likes to detangle with conditioner when your hair is wet. Totally understand. But if you are really prone to breakage and if your curls are currently very dry and brittle feeling, then I highly recommend trying a pre-shampoo oil. So I'm using the Curlsmith Shine Oil. This is part of their fragrance-free line, and I really like this one as a pre-poo treatment because it's very fast absorbing and super lightweight. You really can't overdo it with this oil, and you have to be careful when you do a pre-shampoo treatment because you don't want to use too much oil, and you want to make sure it soaks in before you go and shampoo. A pre-shampoo oil will basically fill in the gaps in your hair's cuticle and just soften the hair to make it easier to detangle and also make it easier to shampoo and protect your curls, because if your curls are very dry, then they're probably very brittle and you don't want to cause any breakage during the shampooing process with that friction. So it's great to just soften up the hair before you go in and shampoo. So I usually work in sections, and I also use this time to just remove any of the loose hairs. That way it doesn't get all tangled up and matted when I'm shampooing. This usually only takes me a couple of minutes, and I'll just let it sit for anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes before I hop in the shower. But if I'm really short on time, I'll just hop in the shower, and luckily this Shine Oil absorbs pretty quickly. So now it's time for shampoo in the shower, and I'm going to be using the Essential Moisture Shampoo. Now this shampoo contains very gentle surfactants in it, like glycine betaine, which is a really great gentle surfactant that's going to effectively cleanse the hair without stripping it. Because the last thing we want to do when our hair is already super dry is strip it of all of its essential moisture. So this shampoo is just a great shampoo for everyday use. If you're somebody that does like to shampoo your curls pretty often, whether that's every other day or every 3 days, this is a great option for that. You could even use this in rotation with a co-wash if you do wash your hair very frequently. And you can also use it in rotation with a clarifying shampoo, which is actually what I recommend doing. I like to kind of rotate my shampoos. And then if I really needed to restyle my hair, I might go with a co-wash, or I'll just use a lathering shampoo like this because I actually prefer shampoos that do lather. And I like how the Essential Moisture Shampoo does lather up, but it's not too stripping. And when I rinse it out, it doesn't feel like my hair is like sticky and matted up. It feels super moisturized. But if you're somebody that really struggles with your hair feeling like awful and matted and just super dry after shampooing, then you definitely need something a little bit more moisturizing like this Essential Moisture Shampoo. So I know it can be kind of confusing with rotating between different shampoos, but it is very helpful to have a variety of shampoos in your arsenal. I actually put together a wash day calendar a while back on my blog. I can link you to that in the description box down below, but it's helpful because it shows you in a visual calendar format of which day to do what, depending on how often you wash your hair. So then I'm going in with the Essential Moisture Conditioner, which is very moisturizing. It's not too heavy, but if you had very fine hair, I would only use a small amount and maybe just focus it on your ends. But I like to apply my conditioner from my mid-lengths down, and then I just take the remainder conditioner and sort of glaze it over the surface of my roots. You do still want to be moisturizing the upper part of your hair, especially if you have very dry hair. You don't want to completely neglect this area because that can lead to things like root frizz, where you have a lot of flyaways and frizz on the top section of your hair because it's not getting any moisture. We don't want to completely avoid this area, but of course you don't want to apply your conditioner directly on your scalp, so that's why I like to kind of just glaze over a small amount on the surface of my root area. Conditioner is essential in my opinion because it helps lower the cuticle back down and lower that pH of the hair back down. Because when you shampoo your hair, it kind of raises the cuticle and it pushes it out to where it can effectively cleanse the hair. It's a little bit higher of a pH, and then you need that conditioner to then lower it back down and just smooth the cuticle and then detangle. So if you skipped conditioner, then your hair is just going to remain in that raised state where the cuticle is slightly lifted, and then it can be very dry and prone to breakage. So we need to be using conditioner. I really like doing a deep conditioning treatment about once a week, and I always do a deep conditioner after I use a clarifying shampoo. But when I just do a regular like moisturizing shampoo like this one, I'll just use a regular conditioner afterwards. So after that conditioner sets for a bit, I always rinse it out fully. You want to make sure you really rinse it out and especially get it off your scalp if you did get any, because you don't want your hair to become weighed down. Now I personally like to damp style. I don't like to style soaking wet, so I always use a towel just to absorb any excess water right at the root, and then I just spritz the links down with some more water. So step number 4 is to moisturize with some type of leave-in conditioner or curl cream. I'm going to be using the Curlsmith Feather Light Protein Cream because I want to make sure that my hair has that balance of protein and moisture, because we're using a lot of moisturizing products in this routine, and the gel I'm going to be using is protein free. So I'm going with the protein curl cream beforehand just to make sure I have that balance. You could also go with the Hold Me Softly Style Balm if you don't want to use a protein option. This is a great curl cream that I actually featured in my best styling products of 2022 video. It's great at clumping the curls, really nice. And the Featherlight Protein Cream is also awesome. It just has a little bit of that protein in it. Protein can actually help increase your hair's hydration and improve its moisture retention, because protein will temporarily fill in the gaps in your hair's cuticle. And if you know anything about the hair's cuticle, if it is damaged or if your hair is high porosity, it can release moisture and protein easily because it can't hold on to that moisture. So we want to make sure we are strengthening the hair's cuticle so that way it can hold on to that moisture. A lot of times people get confused and think that protein is drying, and it's not moisture, but it's actually not exactly opposite. Protein can actually help moisturize your curls, and it can keep your hair moisturized longer and also help with your curls not falling flat. So step number 5 is to use a gel like the Curlsmith Souffle to lock in that moisture. If you just use a curl cream, your curls are probably going to dry out by next day hair. You need something with hold to hold in that moisture and keep it in longer, and also hold your curls longer. You don't want them to frizz up and become frizzy by the end of the day or when your hair dries. So I really like this styling souffle in the winter time because it contains really great ingredients for improving your hair's moisture retention and help keeping that moisture in your hair. So it contains Irish sea moss, which is a natural styling agent that provides hold and definition. It also has a ton of slip. It also contains basswood oil to moisturize and add lots of shine, because we know dry hair is very dull looking. It also has flaxseed extract, which is supposed to help with your hair's elasticity, so preventing breakage. And then it contains resurrection flower, which is known for its moisture retention properties. So lots of great ingredients in here for moisture retention, which is what we want in the winter. So as I mentioned, a lack of hold is often mistaken for dryness. And I would say the Curlsmith Souffle is probably a medium hold product, and it's kind of buildable. You can get stronger hold if you use a lot, but I would definitely say a little goes a long way with this. You don't want to use too much when it comes to this souffle, or else you can get that sort of like piecey, stringy look. Now I definitely did go for more of a separated look. Like I didn't clump my curls too much because I wanted more volume. If I clump my hair too much, then I really don't have as much volume because my hair is very low density. I wanted more of that piecey separated look so I could get bigger curls. but you could totally clump your hair more with a brush if you wanted to and use more water. I just used a styling brush though to create some ringlets. I didn't really go overboard with the clumping because I wanted more of that volume, and the souffle definitely gives you more of that piecey look anyways. I usually use anywhere from like a dime size to maybe a nickel size per section, but probably even a little bit less than that. So if you have very dry, frizzy curls, especially in dry weather, you want to look for gels that contain these 3 types of ingredients. The first one are film-forming humectants, which are humectants that help pull water into your hair or moisture into the hair, but they also seal the cuticle and help lock it in. So they create a film on the hair. So these are things like aloe, flaxseed, Irish sea moss. So all of those types of ingredients are in this souffle, which is why I love it so much. Film forming humectants are awesome in the winter time. Now they may not be enough in high humidity in the summer. You usually need something that contains some polyquat ingredients, but in the winter time, if you don't deal with humidity, film forming humectants should be enough to give you some hold and moisture retention. The second type of ingredient you want to look for are oils. Having oil in your gel is a great way to also lock in the moisture, but if you do have very fine hair or if your hair gets weighed down very easily, I would look for gels that don't have quite as much oil in them, or just not as many oils right at the top of the ingredients list, or not as many oils in the ingredients list, because your curls might look too oily. But I do find that gels that do contain some oils in it, like the souffle, really help to lock in that moisture because oils help to seal in moisture. And the final type of ingredient you want to look for in your styling products is any type of holding ingredient. So in this case, it is the film forming humectant, so it's kind of both, but sometimes you might also want to look for ingredients like polymers or polyquats. As I mentioned, if you do live in a humid area, you would want something that's going to give hold, and that would be some sort of polymer ingredient. So once I'm completely done applying my styling products, I am going to take my Curlsmith hair towel and just scrunch out some of that excess product and excess water. This is really going to help speed up the dry time because you're scrunching out any excess water. And if you are worried that you might have applied too much souffle, this is a great way to just absorb any excess. If you do find that your hair frizzes up, then just go in with another light glaze of that souffle, so you can kind of just use praying hands or just kind of scrunch it in if you do find that you might have removed too much product. So the next step is to diffuse your curls. I'm using the Curlsmith Diffusion with the XXL diffuser attachment. This is an amazing diffuser head for getting all of your curls in the head at once. I highly recommend diffusing if you're not already, because I always notice that whenever I air dry, my curls look so dry by the end of the day and by day 2. I've done a whole video comparing air drying versus diffusing, and you would be surprised at the difference in my curls. So maybe your hair on day 2, if you feel like it's very dry and frizzy, it could be because you're not diffusing. Diffusing helps to lock in your gel cast right away, so you're not losing it as your hair is air drying and not ending up with a ton of frizz. And the heat of the diffuser also helps to set the curls into place. So if you struggle with your curls falling, or if your waves just fall out by the end of the day, definitely try incorporating it diffusing. You're not going to get damage as long as you use proper diffusing techniques. And I don't find that it gets too hot because the Curlsmith dryer is still pretty mild and it's made for curls, but you can just hover if you are worried about getting any type of heat damage. So once my curls are completely dry, I like to add these root clips just for some extra volume, but this is totally optional. I just add these while I wait for my hair to finish cooling off and to set. Then after a few minutes, I take out those clips and I'm ready to fluff out my curls and scrunch out the cast. You can use an oil to scrunch out the gel cast and the crunch if you want to, or you can just use your plain dry hands with nothing on it, but an oil can really help to add shine and also to lock in even more moisture. So to make things easy, I'm just using the Curlsmith Shine Oil since we used this at the beginning of the video, but you can also use Curlsmith's other oils as well, like the bonding oil if you want to strengthen your hair. And this is going to help really soften up the gel cast. And I like to do this a lot with the souffle because, as I mentioned, it can give you kind of that PC look. So I do like to scrunch out quite a bit of that. That way my curls get a lot softer, but I still have really great hold because the souffle is that great to where you can scrunch it out and you're not going to end up with frizz afterwards. Another little trick you can do if you find that your curls still are a little bit wet or damp after you scrunch out the cast is go back in with your diffuser just on low and diffuse your hair again. You can even use your diffuser to break your cast if you want to, but that could result in some frizz. But sometimes I'll go back in and diffuse just to make sure it's fully dry, because when you're using a lot of very moisturizing products, you can end up with moisture overload or just too much moisture in your hair to where it just feels very damp for a long period of time, and you don't want that. But I find I get more volume if I do this after I scrunch out the gel cast. So these are my final results. You can see how much more moisturized my curls are. It's really funny to see how much darker my hair looks when it is moisturized and how much lighter and more dull it looks when my curls are very dry. So don't forget to check out the new Curlsmith Essential Moisture Shampoo and Conditioner and all the other products. I will have everything linked in the description box down below. So if you are still looking for ways to improve your moisture retention, then check out the video that I have linked right here on the screen. It's called How to Improve Your Moisture Retention and Keep Your Curls Moisturized Longer. I kind of show you a similar routine, but I also talk about ways to extend the moisture in your hair throughout the week. So we talk more about refreshing, and I show you how to keep your curls moisturized a lot longer. So I will talk to you over in that video. Bye everyone.